Beautiful the Earth is.
Yeah, there's no other planet like it. It looks like a great sphere marbled with clouds.
It was nice of the Confederation on Omega to give us a vacation on Earth.
Yeah, and especially for Psyche, she needs one.
You're not in good shape yourself. The only guy around here in condition is me.
We're coming in now. It's a shame that we have to stop out in orbit.
Authorities sure know a lot of ways to make you lose time.
Venerable old Mother Earth, she has rules of her own, and one of them is no craft is allowed to land.
I never knew that Earth had a ring like Saturn and Uranus.
Nonsense. That's their solar energy ring.
Calling Hummingbird, welcome to Earth. Will you please proceed to landing base Doppler? You will be given clearance to land in 6 minutes. You will be given instructions.
Pressure reestablished. You are authorized to disappear.
Gentlemen, there is absolutely no need to be alarmed. Your friend Psyche has a good constitution. All she needs is a few weeks rest and she should be all right, so don't worry. Oh, here they are. Well, Doctor?
I can only confirm your diagnosis, Doctor. No broken bones or serious lesions. A sprain here and there. Routine treatment.
As for you, Lieutenant, a little rest wouldn't do you any harm. You've had rather a heavy load lately, is that right? And you're apparently made of very stern stuff. Well, I sincerely hope all three of you spend a very enjoyable time on our dear old planet Earth.
This is a super space station, you realize? You'd think you were really out in the country.
Hey, we're going to be late. Get moving, Hector.
And naturally, you have nothing to declare. No moonstones, no cosmic jewels, no art object from Thetis, no gadgets from Compania.
My luggage! Where's my luggage? It's disappeared! I've got to find it!
Hey, it's really Panicsville here.
Next shuttle service departure for Earth leaving on platform 7 in 4 minutes. Next shuttle service for Earth leaving.
I think it's that way.
You're the group from the Hummingbird, aren't you? You'll leave from the 4th platform. We've been detailed to conduct you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Immediate departure.
It almost feels like we're Grouchly's prisoners.
Only General Grouchly's men never smile.
On your left, Space Cluster Copernicus.
Oh, we missed it.
And this is Group Kepler. On your right, a large pleasure and recreation center, the cemetery in space.
Oh, we gotta go see that. I hear it's terrific. Hey, what are those?
Can't be. We need a guide to explain all this. And look at that.
Oh, look down there. It's the belt of solar mirrors that surrounds the Earth and supplies all its energy.
Here you see the ring of solar mirrors. We are 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. The so-called geostatic zone, because an object placed in orbit here moves at the planet's rotation speed and appears stationary from the ground. That is why there are so many obstructions here. Please excuse the delay.
Magnificent clouds like a beautiful dream.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The sound you will hear in a few moments is caused by our re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. Below us is the Atlantic Ocean, Italy, Ladies and gentlemen, we will be landing any moment now. The anti-gravitational system will now be put into operation. Prepare to land. Thank you.
Friends, my dear old friends from Omega. Yes, well, now I can tell you the whole thing was cooked up. We asked Omega to let you spend a little time with us here on Earth. After all, you deserve it. Naturally, we wanted it to be a surprise.
Well, dear friend, that it was. Your secret was well kept.
Nobody gave it away, not even at Port Doppler.
Yeah, for a while there, we thought we were prisoners.
Oh, dear, I'm afraid I'm getting sleepy. I think I'll get some sleep.
It's a little bit hectic, I know, but tomorrow we'll get out of this city. You're too famous, you heroes. You saved the Earth, you know. You'll be recognized. You won't get any peace here. Anyway, seen one city, seen them all. No. Tomorrow, it's the country for us. See, young Psyche, you're gonna be yourself in no time.
It is here, as though it could go on forever. Oh, what on earth are those?
Why, those are cows, of course. What do they look like? Oh, that's right, you never saw. No Omega, no cows. There are lots of holes in your education.
You sure these things aren't dangerous or anything?
No. Isn't she a magnificent specimen? Look at her.
Dangerous.
It's true, on Omega, we have nothing like this.
There's nothing like this on any planet we know.
Look, there's the house, down there. You see it? Hello? She's my faithful old servant. Well, in a way, I mean, she's considerably younger than me.
Is this another one that's not dangerous?
He doesn't look too ferocious.
Down!
He might gulp you down in one bite.
Well, there are our young heroes at last. Well, heroes or not, let's get one thing straight. We have routine here. Supper at 6 p.m., bedtime is at 8 p.m., same as the chickens. And breakfast is at daybreak, same as the chickens. That understood?
Does she expect us to lay eggs?
You'll drink fresh milk from our own herd and eat honey from our hives. You'll like it.
It's like a paradise here. Was it always like that?
We've always heard so much about the violence here on Earth. It's difficult to believe it's true.
Oh, it's true, all right, and it was probably much more violent than you can imagine. It's taken centuries for the people of the Earth to resolve their quarrels, contradictions, become adult, but it would take too long to explain it.
Oh, no,
please,
come on,
tell
please
us.
tell us.
We really like
yes,
to know.
tell us.
You'd like to know? Where shall I start? Toward the end of the 20th century, things started to go wrong. Excessive industrialization, more and more production. And while that, to give people a few superfluous goods, to consume products, use them up as fast as possible. Towering pride of government. A global view of world mattered less than keeping your clients happy. As in Roman times, the payoff with the inevitable result that raw materials needed for human development were used. For instance, when my old spaceship left Earth in 2023, there were so few metal deposits left they had to rely on melted down scrap. There were junkyards full of old cars, and since there was no motor fuel, they started using coal. And then when the coal ran out, it was wood. And then when the wood ran out, there was only one place to go up. And they turned to the sun. And so, as my old crate was leaving Earth, they started constructing what was to become the ring of solar mirrors. Ah, yes, and they were building those gigantic radio telescopes to listen in on outer space, trying to find other civilizations in the universe. They had learned that they had to be put up above the ionosphere, since long-wave radio frequencies didn't penetrate that layer. And in time, Omega's allies were discovered and all the rest. And as for population growth, galloping, especially among the poorest, 8 billion human beings in the year 2000, over 30 billion 1 century later. Can you picture it? An endless line of misery and hopelessness. Well, there were little local wars to settle things, a show of strength. The poor always the victim of tensions and frustrations, but nothing is more reassuring when you're miserable than knowing that someone else is more miserable, preferably an enemy. But going all the way, total destruction. No, from time to time, we toy with the idea of a bomb, megatons, millions of victims. And in the end, they had weapons thousands of times more powerful. No. What really brought about the collapse was genetic engineering. It started innocently enough by grafting genes resistant to malignant cells, of course, strictly for humanitarian purposes. It always starts like that. Then it was so parents could choose the baby's sex, color of eyes, his or her size, even his intellectual capacity. At that point, all genetic research became top secret government business. To produce super athletes or well-endowed young ladies, or men in blue or green or orange, all according to enzyme balance. But as for producing geniuses, they tried to outdo each other. All the leaders appropriated to themselves the genes that would guarantee their progeny brilliance and long life. They were creating a dynasty of the elite. Their descendants would rule forever. Naturally, such a secret developed, and the common people rose up to revolt, and then, in a desperate attempt to maintain their privileged position, trick in the book, scapegoating. It was all the fault of the others, the enemy. And they started pressing buttons. The Great War of 2183. Yes. Of course, I was in suspended animation somewhere out in space at that time. Oh, it was terrible. It wasn't a pretty sight. Our Earth, what was left of it, around the year 2200, they were back in the Middle Ages, with a strong triumph over the weak. And then slowly another renaissance dawned on you. If you recall, the first had been in Greek times, Pericles, Socrates, when man himself was the measure of all things, and the second came 2,000 years later, the Italian Quattrocento, Da Vinci, Brunutti, and that other one, what was he called? Michelangelo. In the 25th century, 1,000 years later, the third Renaissance emerged. Man was no longer an instrument to be manipulated. His right to happiness was inviolable. War was outlawed. And mad expenditures it had occasioned also. Natural resources were strictly controlled, and a world government was at last proclaimed. It was well remembered that technology is the handmaiden of war. The first tentative communications were made with other constellations. And they went out and discovered the existence of Omega. Rules were set down. Other planets were not to be pillaged. It was a new era. Our space trains would go out and bring back from uninhabited worlds only certain metals and water.
Really, what?
Yes, that's right, water. A substance we are sadly in need of on Earth.
And ever since all's gone well?
No, alas, it hasn't been quite so simple. Poor old Earth has been subjected to her troubles. One was the spread of computers in the whole domain of data processing, which took an alarming proportion.
Hello, 7312. Your output last week was below normal by 17%.
Yeah, but I couldn't keep up my work. I was sick last week.
Until your performance improves, all your goods and services will be reduced accordingly. Food, clothing, leisure activities, minus 17%. Only logical.
We regret to announce that the marriage rate has attained the critical stage of 7.8%. We project a return to normal in 7 months, 14 days. Kindly submit your request then. Thank you.
Oh, you name it, and it's 100 to 1 a computer was in charge of it until the people revolted. Old Mother Earth also had her problems with the people who wanted to control her weather, her climate. Well, for some time, weather had been controlled very nicely by satellites, which could provide sunshine or clouds, rain, hail, whatever you wanted, wherever it was needed. And sure enough, one day a group in the north wanted to teach the south a lesson for whatever reason, and they deprived them of sunshine and rain and other such little practical jokes. It is a small planet and its ecological system is all one. In view of the terrible catastrophes that resulted, the satellite toys were taken away from these sorcerers of apprentices. And we learned our lesson. There was no longer place for such child's play. Humanity would behave as an adult or perish.
Alas, I'm afraid there will always be madmen with their delusions of grandeur.
Madmen, yes, but they must not be entrusted with power. Meanwhile, look around. We've come back to the simple things, as in the 19th century. If only men were wise enough to learn wisdom. Yeah, yes, my young friends, I'll show you everything you want to see and more.
What's that up there?
The ring. We'll pay a visit later on. First, take a look over there. Those great balloons. That is a water reservoir. It comes from other planets. We fill giant high-resistant plastic containers. And naturally, transporting balloons that large isn't very difficult when you're out in space because they're weightless. And they're ice, of course. And when we need water, we just draw one down toward the Earth at 3,000 meters altitude. It melts, and we take all the water we need. Rather nice system.
It's brilliant. When we just saw them, we couldn't figure out what they were.
Yeah, over there. Yeah, we're, let's see, 35,860 kilometers from Earth. You know what that means?
Yes, we know all about that. This is the geostatic altitude. An object is motionless to an observer on the Earth.
That's right. And that's why all this junk is floating around. The old radio telescopes still work. No, they don't make many discoveries these days. As you know, a surface of 500 billion wavelengths squared enables receptions of signals at a distance of 100,000 billion kilometers, which I agree is only 10,000 light years, which is a drop in the ocean, and we should consider as well the narrow width of the beam, which, in the calculation...
Sorry, only, what's that over there?
What, that? Oh, that's quite a story. Ever since the 21st century, rich people have wanted to be buried out in space, nearer to heaven. Well, that's what they wanted. Why not? Only as things went on, it got too crowded. So it was decided to stack all the dear departed in this floating cemetery. Space centers for rest and leisure activities, mainly for space station personnel.
What's the big disc on top?
That's the capture for solar energy. Everything comes from the sun. It's life, all energy, petroleum, oil, and food. Oh, the sun. Do you know how much energy it sends us continuously? It's a colossal figure, 250 trillion horsepower. That's how much. And what did we do with it? I'll tell you what we did with it. We took sunbaths, that's what.
Hey, there, what's that? Is that what I think it is?
I think you know what that is. That is the graveyard of wrecks and boats. You wanted to see it? There it is. As early as the year 2000, there were 400 objects in the sky, and I'd hate to tell you how many were there later. As usual, it took a tragedy for anything to be done about it. Man needs some catastrophe to make decisions. You could say he sees his future with hindsight. And what was I saying about all this junk? Oh, you did that. That's right. Well, a lot of junk. One day, a ship was returning to Earth on automatic guidance, and in those days, the crew still had to go in suspended animation. Well, it collided with one of these wrecks that somehow got in the way. The shock was devastating. So it was decided to clean up space, put all these objects here in one place.
The remnants of the spaceship Invincible, the heroic craft that defended us in the Great War.
As you see, it's a favorite site for tourists. They come here on pilgrimage. It's a museum. And there's Leisure Center there. Then you have the amusement park, full of all sorts of extraordinary games, fast food, pills, shows. Well, do we go on? To the Ring of Solar Mirrors. I'd like to say again, my young friends, the sun isn't only the source and reserve of all energy on Earth. It is the very source of life itself. functions because of the sun. Are we on course?
There's the ring.
That's right, to the ring of the mirrors.
Of course.
The energy ring. There, the sun. Have you ever considered what the results would be if the sun's rays striking the Earth were not just scattered about, but focused in a single point? No, but it's top secret. Only I think you ought to know. If the Earth is ever menaced again, as it was when you saved us, we now have a way of warding off any aggressor, only it's not quite in operational state. Once it's perfected, nothing will be able to resist it. The hardest metals will melt like butter. Even whole planets will melt, be destroyed, reduced to spatial dust. Such a weapon will defend the Earth from orbiting stations. The Earth will be invulnerable.
And you're not afraid of creating such a powerful weapon?
But I told you its use is entirely defensive. You don't think for a minute that... You're right. That's what they always say at first. Well, of course, there's a danger. Anyway, our tests haven't been successful yet. Something always goes wrong. Some say they think it's sabotage. Who can say? Who would do it?
That Cassiopean bunch. Who else? Consider their position if you had had your sun gun ready when their rocket was on the way. Are there any Cassiopeians here?
Well, a few working as space technicians, only trusted above suspicion. It can't be any of them.
How can you be so sure?
We've had a lot of experience, I can tell you, and I wouldn't trust any Cassiopean.
As everywhere, there are good and bad, but Grouch is mad.
What's that group of people up there? Something's happened.
You're right. Let's have a look.
Looks like he's dead. Police, go on about your business. There's nothing to see here. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't recognize your suit. As you see, one of our officers was killed. Looks like he was thrown from his vehicle, sir.
Was he alone?
Yes, on routine patrol in this section.
Have you found his vehicle?
Yes, Lieutenant. It's orbiting around. Should come back in 10 minutes.
It's programmed. Quick, there's no time to lose. You better stay in the shuttle.
Yes, okay.
We'll each take different directions. He can't be very far.
Closer than you think. You see what curiosity got you? Didn't anyone ever teach you it's not polite to poke your nose in other people's business? Education isn't what it was in my day, you know.
Yeah, okay, you win. Only first I'd like to know just what's your game.
Well, I guess I can tell you since the two of you are gonna die. The cop surprised me as I was finishing a little job of sabotage, routine stuff. He tried to get me to go in his vehicle. Oh, we got a little scuffle and he lost his helmet just as he was hot. Anyway, the poor fella had to pull through. I rode his police vehicle once around and got him here. Now, does that clear it up? Bye, you guys. Hey, wait a minute. Aren't you those jerks from Omega? The big heroes? Yeah, sure. Now the boss is gonna be happy. Okay, you guys, you're ours, cop. Now you know what happens to heroes.
Watch out behind you!
That's the oldest one in the book. I haven't fallen for that since I was a kid.